Hello, welcome to the very first tutorial on this channel. In this tutorial, we'll be going over basically my workflow, and we'll be going from After Effects to PFTrack, and then to Cinema 4D, and then back to After Effects to touch-up. This is what we'll be doing. I'm taking this shot. I took the shot today of just basically me holding the camera and looking around. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some 3D tracking to this shot, and then I'm going to add a simple object in there, and then I'm going to take it back into After Effects and touch it all up. And so yeah, this is basically just a tutorial showing you what my workflow is. So let's go ahead and go to Composition and Add to the Render Queue. Now we're going to want to make this into an image sequence, so click this little arrow right here, and JPEG will do. Now I'm going to go to my desktop real quick and make a new folder. This is where all the images are going to be going to, so I'll name it images for the tutorial that I'm working on. Alright, something simple like that. Okay, let's go over here, and I'm going to click the output to right here, and then we're going to save it into the folder we just made. If you want to save it to a specific folder, you're going to want to push this button right here, and then you're going to scroll down, and I'm going to try to find, okay, there it is. It's kind of hard to miss. Double click that and then push save. Okay, now we're ready to render. So just click this button right here, and I'm going to click it, and I'm going to pause the video, and then I'll resume when the render is done. Okay, well, the render is done, so I'm going to minimize After Effects, and if you look in your folder that you made, you will notice that here are all of your images right there. Okay. So now what we're going to want to do is, you can close out of that, we're going to go right to PFTrack right here, and okay, we are going to I'm going to click this icon, which is import footage, and it's going to take us to a screen where we can browse for our file. So let's see here, there it is. Now there is our image sequence. They've compressed it together. So let's just push load, and it's going to check our footage. Okay, now that we have our footage in here, you can scroll through and make sure everything looks good. Okay, we're going to want to go to tracking up here, and then tracking parameters. Now what I like to do is I like to uncheck backtrack. It just never really does anything for me. So everything else is fine. So let's just push close, and all we need to do is push the auto track right here, and just let that go through. You'll see a lot of points show up. So just let that go through, and I'll resume when it's done. So the auto track is done. If you go through your footage here, you will see a lot of these points, and there'll be green and some red and some yellow. The green means that they're a good track. The red means they're bad. The yellow is kind of in between. So what we're going to want to do is get rid of these nasty red tracks. So go down here and click the track error button, or errors, and then you will see a line up here. Now move that line just below the red, like that. Okay, now what that's going to do is, if you scroll through your footage now, there's no red, which is a good thing. Good. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to want to do is go to camera and then estimate focal length. So we'll have this cube thing right here. We need to drag these points to a part of the shot, and I guess just make it look like it's sitting there. we're just, you know, estimating the focal length. So just do your best to make it look like it's in the shot. That's looking pretty good. I'll just stick with that. Okay, now once you're done with that, we're just going to go right up here to the Solve Camera button and push it. That's good. Now push Start. That's going to solve our camera. That shouldn't take long. Okay, so once that's done, you'll notice there are a lot of dots on our screen. And also there's a grid. And if you scroll through your footage, the grid should stick to your ground pretty well. One thing I like to do is find a point that looks pretty good, and this one looks pretty good right here. And you just right click it and then set as origin. So that kind of lines it up well. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this grid down a little bit, push the scale right there, and then just drag. I think that'll be good right there. Maybe rotate it just a tiny bit. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Once you have a decent track, then what you're going to do is go right over here and right click Camera Exports and New. And if you're going to Cinema 4D, which is where I'm going, you're going to want it to be Lightwave. If you're going, you know, there's a lot of options here. You can go to 3ds Max or Adobe After Effects. And so, but you know, I'm going to Lightwave. Actually, I'm going to Cinema 4D, so I'm choosing Lightwave. Scale 1. This is fine. Okay. Push OK. And that's done. So now we just need to go to Cinema 4D. Okay, we are now in Cinema 4D. What we're going to want to do is find our tracking data, which is the comp1.lws, and we're going to want to drag that right in here. Scale 150, that's good. Okay, so as you can tell, there's this is obviously your camera moving. This is your camera movement, those are your points. So now what we're going to want to do is add the background of your footage in the background. So let's go back here and go to our folder, and here is our image sequence. I'm just going to want to, you know, click a random one of those images out of there, doesn't matter which one, and drag it into the materials over here. Just say no to that. Alright, once you're here, in the editor, you're going to want to say Animate Preview. Now, go over to the color, and you'll see texture down here. Push this button, and then go to Animation, this tab, and then click Calculate. That will calculate your image sequence. Okay, so now let's create a background right down here, and drag your image texture over onto the background. Good. Now if you drag through the timeline, you'll notice that the ground is sticking. You'll notice the grid is sticking to the ground. It's good. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to the objects, and we're going to create a plane. Okay, let's move the plane over here a little bit. And maybe back a little bit. Good. Okay. Now let's, now we have that. Let's create a cube. Something simple. I'll move it in like the middle of this plane. And then I'll move it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and scale it. So hit T to go into your scaling tool, and then click and hold Shift. Let's get this down to about, I don't know, 5.5. Now press E to go back to your position tool. So let's move this down just right onto this plane. That should do it. Let's move it around. There we go. That should be fine. Okay, so if you look at this, obviously we're probably going to need to remove that plane, you know. So what we're going to do that is we're going to take our footage and we are going to drag it onto the plane. So that basically just gives the plane our image material, which is not exactly what we want right now. So what we're going to want to do is go over to the plane over here and click the image texture right here, and then change the projection to frontal. Alright, so that's better, but there's obviously a problem here. But here's how you fix it. Go over to the plane, right click, go to Cinema 4D tags, and click compositing. And then once you're in the compositing tag, you want to click composite background. Now if you render it out, the plane looks like it's not there anymore, which is what we're going for. Alright, now let's make this look a little bit better. Let's add a light, just a simple light. I'm not going to go into any advanced lighting here for the sake of this tutorial. Just add a light in here and maybe move it. Let's move it up and over. That should be fine. Okay, and go into your render settings right here, and then go to Effect, and then Ambient Occlusion. Exit out of that. Okay, now if you render this out, let's click this. Actually, click this right here. Render this out real quick. You know, it's looking better. You'll see the ambient occlusion is creating a little shadow here. But we can also go ahead, go to our light over here, and add a shadow. Shadow map soft. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, okay. Well, that didn't look too good over there. So let's go ahead and maybe go to the shadow and change the density to 50%. Alright, that's looking a little bit better. Okay, well, I think that will do for this tutorial right here, just a box. So I think we're about ready to render. Okay, let's see here. First of all, let's go to this cube and let's right click it and give it a compositing tag also. But in this one, go to Object Buffer and enable the first one. Now go to the background and make sure it's not visible in the render. So turn that off. Okay, so now if you render this out, it's going to look like that, which is what we want. Okay, now go to your render settings, go to anti-aliasing, and then turn that on best. Give it multipass, click that, and then click the multipass button down here, and give it an object buffer. Yeah, group ID 1, that's good because that's our cube group ID. Alright, now go to the output and make sure you're on all frames. Now go to save and click this button. Let's go to our folder down here, right here, and let's save this as, I don't know, tutorial cube. Alright, push save. Now click alpha channel and straight alpha. Now for this, I'm just going to copy, click Command C and paste right here, Command V, and just at the end I'm just going to put multi. Okay, and also click the straight alpha here. Alright, next step is compositing the project file. We're just going to push save and then include 3D data and then After Effects, because that's where we're going. Alright, just save the project file. Let's go to our folder. Comp 1, that's fine. Okay, just push save. Okay, now you're ready to render. So just push this button right here and it will start. I am going to stop the video for now and I'm going to resume when it's done. Here is done. Let's just go ahead and exit out of this and let's head on over to After Effects. Alright. Okay, now what we're going to want to do is go find, okay, we're already in the folder, so let's find our AEC file right there. Alright, so grab that and drag it right on over here. It's going to make two folders, Comp 1 and Special Passes. Let's open up the Comp 1. Let's take this image sequence and put it right in here. So that's going to put our cube in our video. Now, that's going to be alright. That's going to be tracked to the shot. But if we want to edit the cube in any way, like the color or the contrast or whatever, we're going to need to go to Special Passes over here and drag this over on top of that image sequence. And then go here. You need to set the track map here. So if that's not showing up right now, you're going to want to click the toggle switches / modes. Make sure you're on track map. So for this image sequence, make the track map Luma map. And that's going to take away the shadow underneath the cube, but that's no problem because all you need to do is go back up to this Comp 1 folder and drag this image sequence under these. So that will add your shadows back. So now if you want to edit the color or anything about the cube, just going to click this image sequence with the track map on it, and then you can just do whatever you want. You can just go to, say you want to change the brightness or the contrast, you can add the levels and use that. As you can tell, it only affects the cube, which is good. So I can make that a little bit brighter, or I can I don't know, I can add a toner and maybe make it blend in a little bit better. Alright, let's change this to full. Okay, we can we can add some noise to make it actually look like it's in the video a little bit. Okay, maybe we can even add a little bit of blur. It's a little too sharp. That should do it. Maybe 0.6. Okay. Well, that's looking pretty good. Now, if you play that back, you'll see that the cube is sticking to the ground. Okay. So there you go. So that's basically my workflow. That's how I go from After Effects to PFTrack to Cinema 4D back to After Effects. So that pretty much sums it up for this tutorial. Go ahead and leave a comment and tell me what you thought, and if you have any suggestions or tutorials you want me to make in the future. I'll be making some more soon. So thank you for your time, and I hope this helped a few people at least, and I will see you later.